Alrighty, to all of our automotive enthusiast friends all around planet Earth, it happened again. As much as you resisted, your little finger went right to the play button on yet another...
Kevin, another mind-blowing episode of V8 Radio.
Wow, well, that's certainly true for once. My mind is blown before I even started this, so I apologize for what comes out of my mouth. This is the V8 Radio Podcast. I'm Kevin Oeste, your host, joined as always by our esteemed co-host, Mr. Mike Clarke.
How are we doing today, Kev?
It's mind-blowing. We have not just one, but two very special guests online. First, we'll bring up Miss Angella Sharpe and
Hi,
Mr.
guys.
Jason LiCavoli.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Hey, no, it's our pleasure. Angela, real quick, is a personality in the St. Louis area television marketplace, live events. You can find her everything from racetracks to sporting events with a microphone in her hand. Television stuff, doing you got a lot going on.
I do have a lot going on, but I like it that way. I like to stay as busy as humanly possible.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
And Mr. LiCavoli is a repeat offender here on the V8 Radio Podcast and is the guy who kind of put some organization on a great local event here called Cruisin Lindbergh.
Well, thank you, sir. I feel like I'm holding the torch for the history of Cruisin Lindbergh, you know? Just give everybody a home to talk about our past and create some new fun events. So we're having fun with it.
Yeah, awesome. So that's going to be kind of our focus today. But as Mr. Q-Ball knows, before we start all of our V8 Radio episodes, a torch that we carry is for automotive trivia. Is anybody,
that is our torch.
I know there was a big response there on that, by the way.
Listen, trivia has just never been my thing. I will know the answer, be at a trivia contest. They can ask the question and I freeze. That's who I am. So I'm a little nervous.
Oh, well, you can just let that nervousness go away because there's really no winners. There's no prize. This is like as bottom of the barrel as trivia gets. So no pressure. Don't worry about that at all.
Perfect. We're in the right place. Good.
All right.
Yeah. Jason lived through this before. I mean, the whole point here is that we throw these interesting trivia questions out in the beginning, and it hooks people to listen all the way to the end of the show where they get the answers at the end. So it's like a bait and switch to get them to stay tuned.
I like it.
They have to wait till the end of the show.
Right. So, Angela and Jason, did you guys prepare trivia questions for this episode?
Yes, but I don't know how hard these trivia questions were supposed to be.
That's okay.
It's all right.
We've had stuff that is pretty tricky all the way down to, rudimentary. So it's all over the place. And because we're gracious hosts, we're going to let our guest go first and ladies first. So Angela, your question to the three of us. What do you got?
Okay, so there's a color. It's called medium blue metallic. That's on the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am formula. It was only made in the year 1999. My question is, how many manual transmission medium blue metallic Firebird Trans Ams were made? If you didn't know this, I have a medium blue metallic Firebird. So that's hence where the question comes from.
Right on. A Pontiac girl, a girl after my own heart. I love it.
Yeah,
that is a great question.
I'll take a stab at this.
Okay.
All right.
So how many medium blue metallic 4-speed Firebirds were produced? And what was the year?
1999 is the year that the medium blue metallic was made. Manual transmissions on the Firebird Trans Am. How many?
Manual transmission on the Trans Am. I'm going to say it's probably going to be a pretty low number. It sounds like something that's pretty rare. I'm going to say 1,000.
I'm not supposed to tell you the answer, right?
No.
Okay.
To the end of the show.
Okay.
Jason, you got a guess at that one?
Yes, I will go with 500 as my guess.
500.
Nice.
All right. Well, I will echo Mr. Q-Ball's sentiment that is a pretty rare combination. It's a great color too, by the way.
Hey, thanks. I think it's pretty.
Yeah, it really is. I'm a huge fan of all those, like the Mopar B5 blue and that medium. GM did another one a little earlier in the 90s called Maui blue, which was a great color. And
that one's real pretty.
Yeah, and Le Mans blue and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to say that it was 275.
Ooh.
If that is my cat.
I can't wait to tell you guys the answer at the end of the show.
Right.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
That's exactly right. Okay, Q, do you have those recorded?
I do.
All right. So, Mr. LiCavoli, have you prepared a trivia question for us?
Yes, sir, I have. Are you ready?
I don't know.
Yes, sir.
What was the what was the Volkswagen Beetle first called when it was introduced in the United States?
Ooh.
Beetle.
What was it called? What was the Volkswagen Beetle called when it was first introduced in the United States?
I'm remembering that Jason's a VW guy, and I should have brushed up on this.
I feel like my dad has told me the answer to this question, but I just can't place it right now.
Well, you're up, so give it a shot.
I figured that's how this was working. Shoot, I don't know. Dad's gonna be so mad at me. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm failing him. I'm just gonna go with I don't know. Can I go with I don't know? Can I don't know be an answer that I go with?
You need a lifeline?
I definitely need a lifeline.
Whoa.
Yeah, you guys are
Maintaining the integrity of the show, pal. No lifelines.
you're introducing all kinds of new elements here with the I don't know
Sorry about
concept. Lifelines. Man, throw something out.
All right, something out into the world here. Let's
WAG.
say, let's just be really stupid. I know this is not right, but I'll say bug.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Might not be really stupid.
It might not be, but it probably is.
A little confidence in that answer.
I have no confidence.
Q, what do you got?
So I'm going to say the Volkswagen Beetle, when it was first introduced into the United States, was called Der Wundercar.
Ooh, that's a good guess.
Wow, okay.
Der Wundercar.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I got nothing, man. That's a great question. I'm just going to throw this out there because I have no idea. Der Schatzi.
Der
Schatzi.
Schatzi.
Mine Schatz.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Good ones. Two good ones.
Yeah, really.
All right. Q, you're up.
All right. Guest and listener. What was the first make and model of car to achieve 20 million units sold worldwide? And for the bonus, what year did this occur?
Okay.
So,
Angela, what do you got?
You're up.
I knew you were going to go with Angela. It's always Angela first because Angela doesn't know. I am going to say,
Angela starts
I'm
with A.
going to go with Corvette. I got it. I'm going to go with Corvette. Corvette seems like a safe guess. Let's go with Corvette.
Okay. Do you want to take a guess at the bonus? What year that happened?
Oh, the bonus is the year that happened. So let's go with 64.
All right. Angela says Corvettes in 1964. 20 million were sold. All right.
This is a make and
Okay.
model, not a brand, right?
Correct.
Not like a whole manufacturer. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Single model.
Was it vehicle or car specific? Did you say car or vehicle?
Well, the make and model.
Okay, because I was going to go with the Ford F-150, but I don't know if they made those back in the day. And see, this is where I have my lack of car knowledge. I'll go with Ford Mustang. And I'll say
Guesses when you think it happened?
1985.
95. All right. I love it. Mr. Oast with the most from coast to coast. What do you say?
That's right. Yeah. I got two guesses here, and I have to whittle down which one is which. One of them would be the Volkswagen Schatzi or Beetle. And I would have guessed that if it was the Beetle, it would have happened probably about 1978 or maybe a little earlier. But my other guess is the Ford Model T, right? Did they make that many Ts? They made a lot of them.
They did make a lot of them.
And if they did, it would have been probably, see, I don't remember the whole specific model year run of the T, but I would guess it would probably have been in the early 30s is when they were kind of out of those things. So I'm going to, just for fun, and because we're on a Volkswagen thing, because of Mr. LiCavoli, I'm going to say it is the Volkswagen Beetle, about 1978. My guess.
Nice. All right. I like the
All right.
conviction. Very good. Duly
Okay,
noted.
finally, I've got one for y'alls.
Let's have it.
There's a vehicle that was produced. It was pretty popular. It was produced by the Pontiac Motor Company, and they called it the Firebird. I don't know if you're familiar.
Hey! Hey!
I've heard of that before.
Q, you knocked your microphone right off the stand. You got that your buzz going again.
Oh, do I shoot? Sorry about that.
That's all right. There we go. Fixed. Okay, so Pontiac Firebird and its additional sublines, the Trans Am, the Esprit, Formula, if you will. Very popular cars. What year did they sell the most? And bonus, how many?
I like this question.
Angela, you're a Firebird person who asked
I know. That's why I feel like
number.
I feel like I have to go last on this question. I feel like you got to start with Jace. You got to start with Jason. Yeah.
We'll do that if you.
Okay. So again, you need the year. But what was the bonus question?
How many of its most popular? So the most popular year occurred, and then how many were sold in that year?
I'm gonna go with 1978. Man, how many sold? I don't even know. I couldn't even guess. 200,000. I don't know.
200,000. All right. Okay, Angela, does that put you anywhere on the map yet, or you want Q ball?
I'm thinking it's got to be something around, Smokey and the Bandit, right? So Smokey and the Bandit in the first movie is driving a 77, right? Mm-hmm, and in the second movie, he's driving a 79. So I'm dancing between those two numbers right now.
That would be 1978.
Well, I realize that, but you know what I mean. I'm dancing between picking 79 and 77. I'm sure they sold the most in black with gold birds. That I'm positive of. That wasn't your bonus question. So I'm going to go with 70. Gosh, I don't want to pick wrong because all the Firebird guys are going to yell at me when I pick wrong, but I'm going to say 79. I'm going to say 79. I'm going to go with 79. You asked how many? Or did you ask what color? What was the bonus question?
Bonus question is how many were sold that year? And
I don't know.
It's Firebird, Trans Am, Esprit, Formula, any derivative, any Firebird, all together.
Golly. 250,000.
250,000. That's a lot of Trans Ams and Firebirds.
Well, I don't know if you looked around. There's a lot of black and gold still around in those years, so that's what I'm going with.
Oh yeah, inspired by the British tobacco company John Player was where that paint scheme came from.
Hey, look at this funness.
I learned that on this show.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Q Ball, what do you got?
All right, Mr. Q is going to zero in on the Smoking the Bandit era as well. I'm going to say the high water mark was 1977 with a total of 67,000.
67,000. Excellent guesses. I love that. This is a 1, 2, 3 finish here. We got 77, 78, and 79. We got some fairly tight guesses on the production number. This is good.
Do we have the exact bid? Price is Right bell ring going on here.
Da-da, da-da. Yeah, right.
Ding 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 ding.
I think I know where your guess came from, Mr. Q Ball, Clarke, and I will reveal that later.
Right on.
But you got to stay tuned to the end of the show to hear the answers to these riveting questions. So there's a nice little incentive. All right, boy. One thing that we've not had two guests at the same time for a total of 4 people sharing trivia questions, and it really adds a lot of meat to this. So thanks for playing along.
Yeah, good stuff. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad because you guys are doing some exciting stuff, and we're going to have Jason kind of give us a brief history of what the heck is Cruisin Lindbergh.
So I think a lot of small towns have a place where they cruise up and down the street and congregate. Well, Ronnie's Plaza was the place where everybody went, right? It used to be a drive-in movie theater. And since the 50s, people just been kind of cruising up and down this 3-mile strip of South Lindbergh Boulevard in South County, St. Louis. And it's something that as a child, I saw it happening when I was too young to understand it. And as soon as I was 13 and my cousin had a license, we're cruising on Lindbergh. And so people would bring all their classic cars, their custom vehicles, trucks, motorcycles. People would just drive up and down the street on Lindbergh Boulevard on a Friday and Saturday night and just see other people's cars, show off their rides, grab a hamburger, watch a movie. it was just the place to be. It was our Facebook back in the day.
That is outstanding. And you are getting so good at telling that story, my friend.
Well, thank you. I've said it a lot of times, and I've said it different ways, but man, that's what it is, you know?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
So, Angela, are you, any personal connection to the Cruisin Lindbergh scene yourself?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, I grew up, first of all, just a car person. So my father collected cars, but my grandfather also had quite the collection of cars. So we always went to car shows and, had to wait for Papa to win his first place trophy with his 1935 Packard and that kind of thing. Like, that's what we did, right? And so when I got to, like driving age and there wasn't a whole lot of things to do, you could go to the movies, you could hang out with your friends, but what are you going to do? You could drive up and down Lindbergh. I was right there, kind of right around the age where they started to kind of ban cruising altogether. And that even made it a little bit more fun at the time because, every kid or teenager wants to do something that's maybe just a little bit wrong. But I met my first boyfriend cruising Lindbergh. So why wouldn't I be a part of this?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right on.
Yeah.
Love it.
So Cue Ball is up north in a Chicago suburb, and I grew up just outside of Chicago too. And we had our places. Harlem Avenue was one for those who did that, and it was kind of similar. Where, Saturday night at a certain time, everybody kind of crept out of the woodwork and here's the rolling car show from end to end. And it was really cool to get the different music and the different, kind of cultural stuff happening within this unofficial event at the same time. But what I really think is cool is the current day Cruisin Lindbergh events. Jason, you kind of packaged this thing. You kind of put a bow on this and made it a thing to put on the calendar, which was good. It draws attention to it that people are looking for and it doesn't just kind of happen, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I try to get all the local businesses. I love where I live 10 minutes from where we cruise. And that's my community. I want all the businesses right there on Lindbergh Boulevard to win, right? I want to raise money for the local schools. I want to be a benefit to the community. And so does all the people in our group. So, we're a little bit older now. We maybe not cruise the same way we used to. I call it cruising for a cause, right? We're supporting our local community, raising money for nonprofits. I mean, and the people come out and have fun together. And I think in this post-COVID world, we need as many reasons to get together as we can. Absolutely.
Now, you kind of got this going again. You mentioned COVID during the lockdown times when people were doing like the birthday cruises and driving past people's houses and stuff. And how did you kind of, take that idea and say, hey, let's gather and do a traditional good old Lindbergh cruise?
Yeah, social media is a powerful thing. I'm talking to a buddy of mine late night, COVID lockdowns, and nothing going on. And I said, man, everybody's doing these birthday parades. Like, what if our old car buddies would just bring the old car out of the garage, drive up and down the street and wave at each other, like 6 feet distancing, all that good fun stuff, but it'd be something to do. And I invited a couple friends, and they invited a couple friends, and thousands of people came out. And so it's not me. Like, who am I? I'm just a guy, again, holding this torch saying, hey, we're over here. If you grew up doing this, come over here and play. And they all came. And it's been a magical thing. Again, it's not about me. It's about this history that we share together. I spent 10 years of my life cruising Lindbergh. So I think we're able to maybe reinvent what it is. Same 3-mile strip of Lindbergh, but what the cause is brings more benefit than it's just driving around casually. So we try to do it like 3 times a year, spread it out, really get the community involved and just ask all the cool car guys to come out and show up and show off. So
now I remember when the first event and the second one kind of went down. Unfortunately, I was traveling, so I was not able to participate, but I was watching closely on the social media group and the Facebook page and all that. And I think in the beginning, there was some trepidation by some of the business owners and by some of the locals who didn't quite get it. And I think that the manners and the friendliness of everybody might have really surprised them.
Absolutely. The police have been sweethearts with us, right? Like, I think they've embraced what we're doing. They see the benefit. They see that we help self-police on these parking lots, and the good guys are out there. Not to say there's not going to be riffraff. You get enough people together, somebody might do something wrong, but the majority of people are there having fun, enjoying one another's company, and again, benefiting the community instead of being a nuisance. So I feel like we've been in the local community has embraced us finally, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited where we're headed.
Well, yeah, up and down Lindbergh Boulevard.
Well, it's bigger events. It's raising more money. It's right. It's like affecting in a better way, in a stronger way. So I don't know. I'm really excited.
Well, you guys
it.
you shared some pictures of a fundraiser event that kind of falls under this umbrella just this past weekend, right?
Yeah, well, we've done. I mean, there's always an event going on. I try to sponsor as much as I can, also, right? Like show love to all the other groups that are doing car events. I love our local car community, you know. And you grew up, right? You said you grew up in a town where you had your little area where people would cruise, and it's like that rolling car show. There's just something magical about it. It's different than a car show, you know?
And I think what Jason is not really sharing is that because when he started this event, like the very, very first one, you know, that was during all the lockdowns and people wanted out of their houses. And that thing, I don't think you'll ever catch the magic of that very, very first one. But because of that, he's got so many eyeballs on his page on Facebook. And I think he's really trying to utilize that for good and try to help charities, like different organizations, when he can and when it kind of all correlates together within the car community.
Yeah. And you're doing a great job. And I love the fact that it's done in concert with the local businesses and even the fringe area around. So the area we're talking about, for those listening in other countries, which they are, there's a couple people that
love it.
It's called South County, and it's an area of St. Louis that has this cool strip, you know, that you can cruise down. It's actually a pretty neat road too, because it's got a few turns in it and it kind of goes up and down, and it's not just a dead straight flat stretch. Now in Southern California, like Ventura Boulevard and in the Valley was that kind of flat stretch thing, and they had a legendary cruise out there too. This one I think it's a little different because it does kind of wind around a little bit, and like you're saying, you can go from parking lot to parking lot and see an entirely different static car show in each lot as there are people cruising by, you know, moving at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like everywhere you are, you're breakneck and looking around. You can't keep it all. You can't take it all in. It's really fun.
You know, when I took my dad to the very first one that Jason had organized, and my dad kept saying, it's just like American Graffiti. It's just like American Graffiti. And so that was cool for me to see my dad, who's, you know, I don't know how old he is, to be honest with you, but he, you know, an older guy, kind of comparing it to American Graffiti. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah. It's that whole Americana thing. But let's go the other way. And what are the kids like there? Because you get some young kids hanging out with their.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I even took my niece and my nephew up there, and I, you know, like I said, my dad's a car guy, but their dad isn't a car guy, and so it was kind of fun to be able to take them up there. And a lot of these car guys and gals that have these nice cars that are showing them off, they're very welcoming to children, especially. And I was just telling Jason today how thrilled my nephew was to be able to sit in a Lamborghini and a Ferrari, and like all these guys were very willing to let him sit in their car, and I, you know, took some photos that he'll have forever, and it was just kind of a neat little thing to kind of get somebody that maybe wouldn't necessarily be into cars.
For sure. And I love that. I mean, everything that we try to do, either with this podcast or all the video stuff we do, or even our V8 Speed and Resto Shop, our mission is to perpetuate the car culture in anywhere possible. And I think all of us probably had that experience being very young of getting some connection with a cool car. Either it was through your dad or your Aunt Angela, you know, took you to a thing, or, you know, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And when you experience that as a young kid, it sticks. And that's what we need, because those are the people that grow up contributing to this and building cool stuff. But, and like my wife loves to tell students today, we do a lot of, you know, like grade school and high school career day type things. And a lot of times the students are like, oh yeah, cars. I don't really care. You know, and I don't want to work in the car world. But my wife points out that, hey, every automotive business needs HR people. It needs accountants. It needs lawyers. It needs graphic design people. You know, every type of career is available to you in the automotive world. So what would you rather be an accountant in? You know, a company that makes contact lenses or one that makes Formula One cars?
Yeah.
Seems easy to me. Yeah. So Angela, you said you brought your niece and nephew out.
Yeah.
What do we find you doing at the Cruisin Lindbergh event, knowing that on any other typical weekend you're working the crowd at a baseball game or at the Worldwide Technology Raceway and reporting on the racetrack? I mean, you got to have something going on.
Well, I kind of morphed into that, I mean, I didn't really honestly know Jason very well at all prior to all of this. I think we were friends on Facebook, but I didn't really remember why we were friends. And then he started this event and I was like, if I can help in any way I can help, I would love to help. And so Jason has started having me do some videos and things like that. So we're trying to do more of that, more live for those people who maybe used to cruise Lindbergh and no longer live in St. Louis. They can log on to the Facebook or the Instagram and then kind of give them a little behind the scenes of what's going on and a couple interviews here and there, and just kind of so they kind of can feel like they're cruising even if they're in Maine or wherever they might be.
That's cool. And just today I saw Angela doing an interview with Jason on your TV show.
Yes, yeah. I had Jason come on my TV show because I'm trying to make sure that everybody gets to know more about Cruisin Lindbergh. And, we want you to go to those local businesses and we want you to, buy a sandwich or whatever it is they sell. But it is technically really kind of a free event. Like, come on out, check out some cool rides, meet some new people, make some friends. It's just kind of a really good environment. So I just want more people to know about it.
Yeah. Well, I think the word I'm going to use is it's a clean event. And what I mean by that is that it's not like you got to wait in line and buy tickets and get the T-shirt and pay all the money, where in the back of your head you're thinking, yeah, the event organizer's getting rich off this and I'm standing here. It's not like that. You can show up and not spend a dime. We're encouraging people to support the businesses, but really there is no checking account that says Cruisin Lindbergh on it.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. And what I love about that, what you just said, I call it a casual community event, right? So there's no rules. It's come out and support your community, meet new people, catch up with old friends, like all those things. And that, again, this car culture has it's been one of the most embracing communities that I've been part of. And I'm sure you can attest to that, right? Just like good people that care about one another, everybody needs a car fix. So like referring people to help you get the part, get the right mechanic, like all of those things are available to you when you start networking at these type of events. So like, that's just another bonus to what we're doing.
Yeah, that is a huge bonus. And I see that a lot on the Facebook group where people are like, hey, I'm looking for whatever. And then you get 5 or 6 people that make recommendations of shops or services. And that referral network is really huge.
And Angela is not going to toot her own horn, but she's our local celebrity, right? Mm-hmm. Like we're honored to have her part of our car culture because she's legitimately a car person. It's like she loves the car community. And so she's usually talking to 50,000 people at the Cardinals game, right? So when we have her doing little Cruisin Lindbergh stuff, it helps elevate what we're doing and get more attention so we can do more good. And so I'm grateful for her being part of this whole community with us. So.
Yeah.
Everybody's so nice to me on this podcast. I love it.
See?
When the mics are off, it's a whole different story, right?
Yeah, you know what? Trust me, I know.
You were all worried about the trivia questions. Come on.
Well, I'm still worried about those, but we'll get there later.
Well, to Jason's point, one of the things that I've found that is unique about the car culture community is that many people, not everybody, and you don't have to, but many people work on their cars. They'll do simple things like, put some decals on it or something visual to personalize it, to the people that do full restorations and build race cars and whatever. And the common thread between all of those people is that they use their hands to make something their own. And that today is a special set of people. You find it similar with those who build houses and improve their homes and whatnot. But we have so many people today who don't really work with their hands outside of type on a keyboard, or for recreation, they're playing video games. So when you do the time to work on something yourself, you get that literally firsthand appreciation for what it took. So when you see somebody else even if it's not your bag, you can go, oh man, there's a ton of work in that. And I love the fact that you did it. It's a cool thing.
Well, and I love that you brought that up, because if you think about a lot of kids, a lot of younger people, under probably 15, all they're doing is playing on the phone or texting or whatever. So if you can take them out to an event like Cruisin Lindbergh or a car show, whatever it is, and they maybe could get an interest that they wouldn't normally have, that to me is awesome.
I was watching that video, your interview today, and you were showing pictures of some of the cars that are going to be showing up at the Cruisin Lindbergh event. And there is quite a variety of all kinds of different cars. And you will definitely see probably something new that you haven't seen before, and definitely see a lot of things that you really think are cool, and come out with a whole new, look at things. And you say, I never thought I would like something like that. There's a 240Z that I think is really cool, or anything else. And I think that's what's really interesting about this, is all the variety that you're going to see out there.
Yeah. And I think that everybody in this community, at least everybody that I've met so far, has been really, really welcoming. So, you might have a, $250,000 car, and you are just respecting the guy with the rat rod as much as he's respecting you, or the guy with the underlights, or whatever it is. And I think that's cool.
The Ford and Chevy guys coexist very well in this environment,
And that's a great point, and we've talked about this on this podcast before, where to me, all of us who are enthusiasts about vehicles, and I don't care if it's a Tesla or a 23 window VW bus or a diesel Cummins lifted Dodge pickup truck. Okay. We're all in this together. And there are those out in the world who, want to see all this stuff go away. So I really don't like it when you get those factions battling online, and you said the Ford versus Chevy guys, the worst one that we find is that, when we post a picture of anything that's been swapped with a modern LS engine in it, half the people are like, that's the greatest. The other half are like, you killed that. It's junk. And it's like, guys, no. We all need to stick together, because it's us kind of against the world. And I've seen some chatter of people saying, hey, our Tesla's welcome on the cruise. And Jason, you're like, bring it. Bring anything. Bring it all, man.
Absolutely. I want to see them all. Everything. That's what makes it so magical. Is when you see, like you said, that lifted truck and a motorcycle next to a hot rod, next to a rat rod, and you see them all in line. It's sharing each other's, affinity for custom vehicles, right? Like, I can appreciate a rat rod. It's not really my scene, but I appreciate what went into that, and it's interesting to me. And I think that sharing one another's craft brings us together, right? If you're a car guy, you appreciate other people, even if it's not your thing, you appreciate what it took to make it. And it's an expression of that person, right? Like, all of us are expressing ourselves through our vehicles, through our customization. And I just love that outlet, at least in my life. And I think a lot of other people do too.
I think you're totally right. And you, Jason, you fairly recently picked up a car, right?
I did. Well, I actually picked up a couple cars. I have a 1970 Cadillac Coupe de Ville convertible, like the Boss Hog triple white with the horns on the front, legit.
Nice.
So I got the Boss Hog Cadillac. Like, I love my Volkswagens, right? But then I bought this 94 Lexus LS 400, which is like a car I could never afford in 1994 when I was cruising on Lindbergh. But I bought a cream puff in California on eBay, and I just couldn't pass it up. So I enjoy, diversity of cars myself. And so, again, Cruisin Lindbergh, I get to see everything. I mean, when the Lambo guys come out, you're doing something right. When the Harley guys come out and the lifted truck guys when they all come out, that's when you're doing something right. So,
yeah, and that is some great. If we just take a moment and look at the diversity of Jason LiCavoli. So we've got the Boss Hog 70 Cadillac. You've got a Volkswagen. Were you doing a bus? Wasn't it a Volkswagen bus?
Yeah, I have a 67 Beetle, and then I got a 62 bus. The Beetle's running, the bus is still project. So, and then
that's cool. SC 400 was
the LS 400.
LS 400, so 4-door. You got cars
that was
from
the
every
Mercedes
continent,
killer of the 90s,
hey, bite your tongue. I've got a Mercedes.
Oh yeah, all right. Well, I'll hold it.
But you got Germany, Japan, and the U.S. all hanging out in your garage. It's no wonder that you gravitate to this event.
Yeah, and I love them all. right? And when I'm out there on the street, I think a lot of people fall in love with new cars when they're out there. It's just been a lot of fun.
I think something that's a surprise to a lot of people is to see the depth, and Angela, you alluded to it with, some of the high-end exotics, the cars that are here in this part of the world, in this city, that are, you don't see on the street every day, and they all come out. I mean, there's some serious cars here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you will see some people who have spent a great deal of money on some cars. And usually those are the girls or the guys that are very welcoming, especially to children. And I'm telling you, that is the thing. I mean, I don't have any kids of my own, right? So when I took my niece and my nephew there, that was the thing. Because I think this was like this, maybe the second event that Jason did before Jason and I really kind of started talking about me helping out. And that was the moment when my nephew and niece got to sit in these cars and take their photo, and then they're still talking about it a week later or 2 weeks later. That was the thing that was like, okay, this is amazing.
Absolutely. So, again, going back to the kid thing, Jason, do you remember any specific memory that really kind of sparked your interest in cool cars as a kid?
Oh, man. I was telling the story earlier about I was 13 years old and my cousin turned 16. And he took me on Lindbergh Boulevard, and I thought, it's like going to the club for the first time, or right, like the first experience of like, I am out, and this is the cool place to be. Like, I'm cool now, And so that feeling of cool associated with cruising around in your car, and my cousin did not have a nice car, but we put a stereo in it, we shined it up real nice, right? Like, that's the other thing about cruising. If I see a young dude and they just shined their car up and they did a little customization, I got to show them some love. Because I want to encourage them to keep going and to, I was poor and young too. And as you get older and have more money, you just can express yourself differently. But it's that passion for cars that, I don't know. And when you're out on the street and you feel the rumble of that motor and you smell that gas burning, you can't do that on Facebook. You know what I mean? And that's what I love, is getting kids to feel it and to just, we're missing that in our world. Trust me.
Yeah, that's totally true. It's funny as you say that. I think back to many years ago. I have an older cousin who took me to a cruise night at a place called Superdog, and it was this killer hot dog place, still in existence. There's two of them in the Chicago area, and Saturday nights all the cars would come out. And he had a 68 Firebird convertible, as a matter of fact.
Hey!
I know, there's another one, man. It's like you're a plant on this episode or something.
I'm telling you, what's going on?
But you're totally right. Being a kid, like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, maybe, in the passenger seat on a warm summer night with the top down, cruising up and down with all these other cars and hearing it and smelling and everything. You feel like a king. It's like this. It doesn't get any cooler than that. Cue Ball, when you were growing up,
yeah, man.
You had cruising opportunities too?
Oh, for sure. I got my driver's license. I was living in near Dallas, Texas at the time, and there was a very popular cruise spot on Beltline Road in DeSoto, Texas, and there had to have been 20 high schools full of kids cruising up and down Beltline Road. It's about a good 2-3 mile stretch, and you would just cruise down, turn around, cruise back, talking to people, hanging out, having a great time. And we did that every weekend.
Yeah, it really it reminds me of Van Halen with the song "Summer Nights." I mean, Sammy just nailed it with the lyrics of that song, of hanging out in the local parking lots and checking out all the action. So, Angela, Miss Firebird, how did you land behind the wheel of a medium blue 99 Firebird?
Well, I mean, it's a sad story, and it actually makes me a little bit sad, but my car that I was given when I was 16 was a 1979 6.6 liter Trans Am with a shaker hood, and I loved that car. But, it started to have 1979 problems, and I was really, really, really stupid. And what I did was I traded it in for a used 1999 car that honestly, I didn't know at the time that the color was like the rare color. I was just like, that's gorgeous. Let's look at that. And so that's kind of how I got to here. But I will tell you that I really, really wish I still had my 1979 6.6 liter.
Gosh. We are, all of us have stories of cars we wish we would have kept, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one that got away. But what I will say is this: you probably did the car a solid by maybe putting it in the hands of somebody who could care for it better than you were prepared to at the time.
Oh, 100%. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
But it still breaks my heart. And so like, that is kind of why I like events like the one Jason's putting on with Cruisin Lindbergh, because, there'll be Firebird guys out there. There'll be everybody out there, but I get to see some of those cars. And I got to tell you, whenever I see a 79, I do make a direct beeline for it.
So it was a 79 Trans Am. Was it black and gold, tan interior, whole thing? Or?
No. Mine was white with the gray bird. And it was,
cool.
yeah.
Nice.
So whenever I see a white one, I'm drawn to it, but now I'm kind of partial to blue as well. I'm really just any car. I'm down.
Yeah, you don't see that.
Unless they're a young guy in a Packard, then you get chased down the street, right?
Oh my gosh, that's right. So like, I think it was I don't know what event this was, maybe Jason's second year, and I started helping him doing some videos. And we were kind of standing on a corner of Lindbergh, and we were just kind of watching the traffic and seeing the cars. And there were these young guys in a Packard convertible. And like I mentioned in the top of your show, Packards are really, really important in my world. My grandfather loved them, and he had one for all of his life. And I see these young guys in a Packard. I mean, these guys were young. I chased these guys down Lindbergh, like on foot. Like I was running on foot. I'm like, yeah. Young guys in a Packard, young guys. And I got to talk to them, and they were in fact young. I think most of them were under 20 or right at 20, wow. 21. And it's a Packard that basically is him and his dad's, and they're kind of slowly working to restore it. And he takes it out on Lindbergh with his friends on Jason's Cruisin Lindbergh nights. And that's just not a car I get to see often.
No, and it's funny when Jason said, getting chased down by I thought you were getting chased by a guys in a Packard, and you were doing the chasing.
I was physically running down Lindbergh with a microphone, screaming "Young guys in a Packard" because I was so thrilled to see that.
Oh, that is so great. So
that's the first time those guys had an attractive young lady chase them down the highway, by the way. I'm not sure.
I don't know about that, but...
Well, back in the day, a Packard would get you chicks, and apparently it still works,
It still works.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Hot cars will always get you chicks, guys.
There you go. So another reason why we're having this conversation now is kind of the first kickoff Cruisin Lindbergh cruise is right around the corner. And this podcast is going to release before that. So this is kind of a promo for that. So Jason, why don't you give us a little bit of the lay of the land? When, where, what time? What do we need to do to get there? And
so April 29th, which is Saturday, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., we're going to be cruising up and down Lindbergh. There's going to be a couple local businesses doing small events, right? Some giveaways, some promotions. There'll be lots of fun stuff to do, but it's about driving up and down the street, looking at other cool cars, and supporting our local community. So on April 29th, Saturday, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., just come up and down Lindbergh Boulevard between Ronnie's and Hooters. That's what we always say. I'm not even going to not say it. There's a 3-mile stretch, and there's 15 to 20 car dealerships up and down the street. So you can do a little car shopping while you're cruising,
There you go. Now, do you feel free to plug whoever you would like as local businesses that are helping the cause. If there's anybody that comes to mind that you want to give a shout out to, more than welcome.
Yeah. So Rich Line is right on Lindbergh Boulevard, and it's just been a custom shop for a long, long time. And so Rich Line is currently in that store, and they do great customization work, sell wheels and stuff. So they always do a fun party. And again, there's Eurocharge and a couple other car dealerships. There's we haven't decided exactly who's going to play ball yet with us, but we're looking for small businesses that are local to do more events. So when you're there that night, you'll see people gathered all over the place. And, we also have a car show going on in the morning time that we're just supporting. And so it's going to be a fun day of car stuff in South County. That is for sure.
Yeah, we've definitely made a whole day of this activity. So if you're really into cars, you can spend all day with us.
What are the details on the car show earlier?
Yeah, so the car show is Cruisin Lindbergh is kind of helping Fairway Automotive with their 8th anniversary car show. And I think the reason Jason really wanted to be involved with this is because they're donating all their proceeds to the Thompson Foundation, which is a foundation that helps those people with autism or neurological disabilities. And that's kind of a really great way. And so that's going to be at the Twisted Tree, which is a little bit north of where the cruise will actually be taking place. And that'll be from 2 to 5.
That is awesome. That's a great cause. It's so cool that they're doing that. And that Twisted Tree, it's near where that new Bass Pro Shop is, right?
It is. It's actually like just catty corner from it, actually.
Is that open yet? Do we know?
You know, I drove by the other day and
Not
I actually
yet.
asked that question because there was a lot of cars in the parking lot, but not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, they said not yet. It's close. It'll probably open by the 29th, hopefully.
Well, just, maybe another option too. So yeah, you could go to that car show and then buzz the other way down to meet up with the cruise and go from there. So that's super cool. I also think that, I'm super excited about this one because I'm going to be there this time.
Oh,
Wait, you're gonna be there?
Nice.
Stop it! You have to tell everybody where you're going to be at so they can find you.
Well, I'm thinking I'll probably be fairly easy to find because if I don't blow it up the weekend before, I will be driving my customized 79 Dodge Maxi van with the full Bob Ross murals on the side and the whole thing. So it's an easy one to spot.
That sounds awesome.
That's pretty kick-ass.
Well, I tell you, one thing I like to do is I try to get professional photographers and videographers to really capture the night. So again, you be sure to tell me where you're going to be, and we will find you, and we'll get some good video and photo. Make sure you're part of the evening festivities.
Well, to tell you the truth, I will probably be doing the exact same thing. And I was going to say, if I can find Angela along the way, maybe I'll grab some video with you, giving us a recap that we can publish on our VATV channel.
Oh, absolutely. Would love to do that. You got my number. I'll just come find you.
Yeah, I think I have. Well, I got your Facebook thing, so I'll just reach you that way.
That works for me. Yeah, that'd be great.
There's a couple special spots we could invite you to, and we'll talk about that off the air.
Hear that, Mike?
I did hear that.
Yes. Oh, too cool. That's awesome. And we're trying to get a bunch of the guys from our shop, V8 Speed and Resto Shop, to come up also. Last Friday, we had a Drive Your Cool Car to Work day where everybody brought in their cool stuff. So I know that they're back on the road for the spring. So we'll see if we can get a bunch of guys to come up and add to the party, man.
And you're bringing this van, correct?
I'm bringing the van.
That is amazing.
I'm excited to see it. I saw it on Facebook, but I want to see it live.
Oh, it's a different deal live, buddy.
I like it.
The super short version of that story is when I was a kid, like all of us with our nostalgia, my dad bought a van in like 84 and it was customized by this particular company called Concept Engineering out of Indiana. And it was a Dodge Maxi van, so the extended version, and it had all the stuff. And he sold it. He actually made me go trade it in for a Mercury Lynx for my sister, which I'm still going to remember, by
brother.
the way. Yeah. But I always thought, if I ever see another one that's similar to that one that was done by that same company, and maybe I'd investigate getting it. And it only took 31 years, and one popped up. it's like
Right on time.
the twin brother, or the one that I had, except for like one of the colors is different, and it popped up on my laptop screen on Craigslist, and it was like I saw Elvis. I was like, oh my God, there it is! And my wife's like, what are you going to do with that? And I'm like, I don't know, but if I let it get away, I'll be pissed. So she's like, well, you need to get it. So I got it, and we'll bring it out.
I love it. I can't wait to see it. And that was a true testament to car people that you should definitely marry somebody who's going to let you buy those cars that are like in your bucket list dream world.
Oh yeah. Well, my wife, she actually runs our shop, and she's totally into cars, and has a 54 Chevy truck of her own, and she gets it, So
Yeah, I met her. She was super cool.
Yeah. I think at the Route 66 event, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was fun. All right.
One thing I will just plug real quick is the Holiday Inn on Watson is redoing the whole thing in a Route 66 theme. It's going to be really super cool. They're putting a 59 Corvette in the front foyer. Like, that hotel is going to be really cool when they're done. So
that is great.
That is
Love
great.
That. Yeah. Well, I mean, because you're right there. You know, the Mother Road goes right through town. So
that's it.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Well, real fast. Do you have the Facebook address or what to look up, or maybe the website or something that if somebody's listening and they want to learn more, they can quickly find it?
Yeah, if you visit us on our Facebook group, Cruisin Lindbergh, that's without the G, and or on Instagram, Cruisin Lindbergh, or cruisinlindbergh.com. Again, Cruisin no G, cruisinlindbergh.com. Again, April 29th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. There'll be thousands of beautiful custom cars driving up down the street. I'm excited you're going to be there, Kevin. I really am. This is going to be a fun event.
It is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We'll have to see if we can import Mr. Q-Ball at some point, too. But
absolutely.
I'll let you know how it is, because he's got a 67 GTO, so another Pontiac connection there.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. I definitely want to. I'm kind of kicking myself trying to figure out how I can get myself out there.
Well, okay. But Jason, you also mentioned that, you guys do this later in the year as well. Do we have any idea of a summer or fall event yet?
Well, I always try to do in April, kick off the car season, and then we do in October to kind of end the car season. And then we try to, again, support other people's events in the summer, but we may do another summer event. But for sure, April and October. Those are our main two bookends for the car season. So,
all right. Well, if I have any say, make it earlier in October than later, because I think I missed it last year because we were headed out to the SEMA show in Vegas at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And
all right, well, send me your
don't change it because of me.
Yeah,
change it because
I don't want to compete with Halloween. I don't want to be late in October and compete with Halloween, but
for sure.
We'll work around your schedule. No worries.
Nice.
Don't do that. All right. Well, listen, I appreciate all of this. This is going to be so much fun. And I am sensing this collective brow sweating around the world of people who are just holding their breath, waiting to hear the answers to our riveting trivia questions. So how do we do this? 4 people. Well, we started with Angela. Angela, why don't you spit out the correct answers? Actually, I guess that's what we'll do, and we'll see who got close.
Okay, so the question was medium blue metallic manual T-tops Trans Am. How many were made? And you guys had various answers that were all too high. So would you like to try again?
Wow. So I said what, 250, Mike? Is that something?
You said 275.
275. I said if that too. So I was.
You did say if that. So I guess I'll give you a half point for that.
I'm going to say it's actually probably like 15 is probably closer to the truth.
It is 26.
There you go.
26.
Wow.
That is a great question.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Question.
Well, you know what's so cool about that?
26. Oof.
It's a super low number of a car, but what's so cool about that is everybody knows, not everybody, but the more popular like low production number trivia questions are surrounded by like the halo cars, like the 69 Trans Am convertible. They made 8 of them, and every Pontiac guy knows they made 8 of them. But today, because of, time moving on and people being nostalgic for different eras of cars, those cars from the 80s and 90s, they're now becoming super, super important to people as well. So now we're learning about low production figures in the late 90s, which you didn't even think was possible. So that is a great question.
Woo!
Interesting.
All right, Jason, what do you got, buddy?
All right, so the answer is intriguing, but I'll tell you the reason why first. The United States was probably weary of selling the Volkswagen name under its proper name because of its history. And
right after World War II, yeah.
The Volkswagen Beetle was referred to as the Victory Wagon to remind all Americans who won the war.
Wow. Really?
Isn't that I found that so intriguing. I was like, that's my question. So the Victory Wagon, VW, called Victory Wagon to remind Americans that we had won the war.
That's killer.
Wow.
Take that, Germany. Brother.
I had never heard that before. That is cool.
I hadn't either.
That is crazy.
That's pretty cool.
Right. Another great question, man. All right, Mr. Q-Ball.
All right, Mr. Q-Ball said, what was the first make and model to sell to achieve 20 million units sold worldwide? Angela said it was the Corvette, 1964. Jason said the Ford Mustang in 1995. And Kevin said the VW Beetle, 1978. One of you is correct. And that person is Kevin, the VW Beetle.
Woohoo, Kevin!
First to sell 20 million. Right. But the bonus was actually 1971, not 1978. But great performance all around.
It was in the decade.
Yeah, it was in the decade. For sure.
I knew they made a lot of those cars. And I was trying to do the math, as we're talking, because like the millionth Mustang came out, I think by 1967 after a 1964 and a half launch. So I'm like, there's 20 million probably did happen in the 90s for the Mustang, but I figured something happened earlier than that. Right, and Angela's 64 Corvettes, there's probably only 10,000 of them made.
Well, this is because Dad's going to listen, and that's what Dad has. So that was hi, Dad.
Nice. That's cool.
Nice. Well, hey, shout out to Pops. Love it.
We built a really killer 64 Corvette in our shop. In fact, it was at that 66 show, the one it was white with the asymmetric red and gray stripe on it.
And you probably saw my dad looking at it, I'm sure.
I hope so. Yeah. That's cool. Awesome. All right. Well, my question to y'alls was Firebird sales peaked in what year? And the bonus was how many? All right. And we had our 1, 2, 3 answers here. Cue Ball said 1977 with 67,000 units. And I stopped on that for a second because I think, Mike, am I wrong? Did they make like 67 or 68,000 GTOs of your year?
My year was 70 something thousand, I think.
70, so right around there. So that might have been your frame of reference.
Maybe.
Angela said 1979 with 250.
Yeah, that's probably way too high, but I'm still saying with 79.
And Jason said 1978 with 200,000. Well, the correct answer belongs to our friend Angela.
Yes!
1979.
Hey, look at you.
Yeah. Congrats. Yeah.
I had to work it out with the Bandit and the smoke. Yeah,
Logic was solid. Totally solid. And where that comes from is that, the 77 SE car was Smokey the Bandit, but you're right. The sales built every year after that. It wasn't like it peaked on that first year. So the actual number for 79 was 211,454 total sales.
Wow.
So if we're going closest without going over, Angela won that too.
You're the car aficionado. You didn't know it.
let's tell me, like he helped me out with the Firebird question, right?
Well, so it's a double-edged sword because sometimes, I'm a big Buick fan, right? I like Buick GSs and blah, blah, blah. So people, they throw trivia questions at me that, because I'm supposed to know everything about it. And then you feel like a real bonehead when the car you really like, you miss the answer on something. They're like, you're full of crap. You're not a big car guy. It's like,
you're a fraud.
So I didn't want to put you in that box. And I know you were feeling some of that pressure, initially, but you got them both, man.
I always feel the pressure though, so that's all right.
I think you work good under pressure. I can, people in the media, they get the pressure. Trans Ams, by the way, of that year, it was also the peak year of Trans Am. And not just Firebird. And out of that 211,000 total cars, 117,000 were Trans Ams.
Trans Am.
Wow. Out there. So there you go. That was
Love
fun.
it. Yeah. Love it. That was fun, guys. I like it. That was a good time.
All right. Well, then if you enjoyed it, we'll extend the invite. We'll have to have you guys back on at some point. Maybe to preview the next Cruisin Lindbergh in the summer or fall.
Yeah, that was I had a great time today. So thanks for inviting me.
Oh,
I really appreciate you having me back on your show, fellas. Kevin and Mike, you guys always make it a good time, and I appreciate you letting me go yip on and about this Cruisin Lindbergh thing. So,
well, it's a great cause.
It's a great event.
Before we sign off on this one more quick question for Jason. Now, if I'm listening to this and I'm in some city far away and I'm getting the idea of, hey, maybe I want to get this going again in my town, what would you tell somebody about how to work with businesses or the public or whatever that you've learned to make a cruise an attractive thing again? Because you've done so much glad handing on this.
It's taken me a long time to get where I'm at, and I still have a long way to go with building that relationship with the local community. So, like, I can just tell you, I can share what I've done. is when you help the local schools raise money so that they can have a better experience for the kids, people get behind that. When businesses make more profit, people get behind that, right? The people coming out and having fun, that's the easy part. It's getting people to come out and support the local community the right way. It takes a lot of self-policing, a lot of good people coming together and watching out for one another. So again, like having a good base of the good guys that are watching out for the safety and well-being for your event, and then bringing value to local business. Again, if they make money, they want you to come back. And that's just kind of how that works.
Love it. Love it. The event and its heart's in the right place.
Nice.
Certainly like to hear it.
I'm trying to do good things, and I want people to come out and have fun, you know? Like, gosh, we just need more of it. So, again, thanks for having me on your show to talk about my little Cruisin Lindbergh. This was fun.
Hey, anytime. So if you enjoyed this episode, please hit that subscribe button and, feel free to leave comments wherever you found it, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever they call it today, and the Facebook page and all the rest of it. And then again, just Google Cruisin Lindbergh. You'll find all of the social sites and the website. Angela, you got anything else you want to throw out there? We already plugged the heck out of Jason.
No. If anybody wants to follow me on Instagram, it's just my name, Angella Sharpe. Angela has 2 L's. Sharpe has an E at the end of it. I try to do a good job, especially on my Instagram stories, of giving them behind the scenes look of what I'm doing either at the Cardinals or at the racetrack, at the NASCAR, whatever it happens to be. And of course, always Cruisin Lindbergh.
Right on. We appreciate that. All right, Mr. Cue Ball, you got anything else for us today?
Mr. Cue Ball does not. This is a great episode, and I appreciate Angela and Jason coming back on. I think aside from Kelly, Jason is our first 2-time guest.
There you go. You 2-timer.
Well, that's an honor, fellas. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, no, we appreciate you sharing that with us. All right. Well, this has been the V8 Radio Podcast. And for Angella Sharpe, Mr. Jason LiCavoli, and Mike Cue-Ball Clarke, I am Kevin Ostie, reminding you to cruise responsibly. We'll see you next time on V8 Radio.